let's just go there to Luka and Kyrie. Let's start with Kyrie because I don't want to just pile on Luka because that's what we did the last time you and I spoke through microphones into a camera. Because I left games 1 and 2 here thinking, he just had some bad games. Like, I don't know if there's any ghosts in this arena, blah, blah, blah. But after this showing tonight, it just feels like it, man. There's something, this was supposed to be his second home. He was supposed to be up on this stage with those dudes. He was supposed to be the Drew Holiday for Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown. And this crowd despises him. There's venom in the air in the Kyrie sucks chants. And it's so loud and so deafening. I've been to a ton of games in my career. I just talked to Phil Pressey, Celtics great Phil Pressey, about how we were both rookies at Summer League 2013 in Orlando. That there's something different about the vitriol towards Kyrie in this arena that I just think it's ineffable, but it's there. Kyrie shot just 27.6% from 3 in the finals. Here, it felt like everyone he chucked up was rimming out. And he ended up hitting 3. One of them came at the top of the key here when the game was well in doubt. But, they needed a heroic effort from both of those dudes in order to extend this series. And they didn't get one from either. And Kyrie, I think, Luka is Luka. He's a mixed bag on both sides of the floor. But with Kyrie, it was still shocking to me, how little wiggle he had to get around guys. And he had to, resort to a lot of the Kobe back my guy down from the elbow, do my little dream shake fadeaway instead of getting all the way to the rim. That, maybe it's just tired. Maybe it's the fact that he's got huge, long athletes guarding him most of this. But he was a shell of himself in the games in Boston. Obviously, he played phenomenal. I believe he averaged 28 a game at home. But these 3 games, Kyrie was just not good enough.
Yeah, the division is really, really stark. 3 games in Boston, he scored 43 total points on 53 shots. Shot 34% from the floor, 3 for 17 from 3, and only generated 4 free throw attempts in 119 minutes across those 3 games. And in Dallas, as you mentioned, 56 points, 28 a game on 50% shooting, 5 for 12 from 3, so 50, 40 plus from 3, and then 7 free throw attempts in 86 minutes there. So the defenders weren't different. You can certainly chalk a lot up to the waves of defenders that Boston could throw at him, starting with Drew Holiday, who was an absolute menace all series long. But then you shake Drew Holiday, you got Derek White there. You shake Derek White, you got to deal with Jaylen Brown or Jason Tatum on a switch. Al Horford was fantastic on switches in this series,
37 years young.
Exceptionally good at staying with those guys and forcing really tough jumpers. They had a super, super difficult time generating any good looks for Kyrie. Kyrie generating space. At a certain point, you're the smallest guy on the court, and that shows up. But yeah, I think you're absolutely right to note that, if nothing else, you can't rule out at this point that the aura in that building, the atmosphere, whatever associations he's got with it, whatever, he didn't succeed there. He had a really, really tough time there. And they needed, as you mentioned, more, the whole recipe, the recipe that led to, and we should also just take a minute to shout out the Mavericks. They got to the fucking finals.
Yes, they did.
That was a team that was 29-23 and got to the finals. And yes, it took the big trades. It took the addition of PJ Washington, took the addition of Daniel Gafford, took the juggling of the lineups, the shakeup of the rotation. A remarkable season for them and a remarkable postseason for them. The formula that transformed that team, that 17-2 or 18-2 run down the end of the season, was Kyrie plus Luka plus defense. And the formula that got them a win was Luka being dominant in the first half, Kyrie being the running buddy, and then the defense being able to short circuit the Celtics offense just enough. And none of that was there for them tonight. Like, Luka's stat line winds up being good, but the impact just was not there. The early step backs weren't going. The early, leaning, getting into the lane and leaning. A couple of those went down, but not enough to shake the Celtics out of their defense or to make up for the threes that the Celtics were hitting on the other end. And it was just wound up being that repeat, that microcosm of the series as a whole. Luka trying to make tough twos and the Celtics getting repeated great looks from three.